20, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a very busy day. It's been a busy news day. If you've been following my Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, which you should definitely do. You see, we had some breaking news stories today. So we're going to deal with some of these, updating on what's going on with these frivolous lawsuits that the Donald Trump campaign is filing, and Rudy Giuliani is in court and had the case thrown out of court in Pennsylvania. We're going to give you an update on what's going on with certifying the votes in Wayne County. You probably heard this national story where here in Wayne County, the board of canvassers were deadlocked on certifying election results, two Democrats versus two Republicans, and the Republicans were deadlocked against certifying their results. We have an update in that story. And then when we look at coronavirus, we see that more GOP governors issue mask mandates as COVID rises in all 50 states. Imagine that. Coronavirus is rising in all 50 states. Who would have thought? Okay. And you got an incompetent president. This is once again an example of how elections have consequences, and how when Donald Trump lies, people die. The coronavirus is surging from coast to coast, with all 50 states experiencing a significant increase in cases over the past 14 days. So we'll give you an update on what's going on there also. And then on yesterday's show, we talked about Lindsey Graham. And Senator Lindsey Graham, head of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Lindsey Graham, the Secretary of State of Georgia, alleged that Senator Lindsey Graham was basically trying to get him to throw out ballots in Georgia, invalidate ballots in Georgia to help Donald Trump win. Senator Lindsey Graham has come out and said, that's not true. And I was talking about verifying signatures. But then another witness who was on that call came out to corroborate what the Secretary of State of Georgia said. So what we have here is, it appears, more cronies and allies of Donald Trump trying to, it appears, steal an election. What we have here is more allies and cronies of Donald Trump, it appears, trying to steal an election. So, but you have to wonder why. And then you have to wonder, all the people who don't understand how the Electoral College works, you have to wonder, well, why wouldn't they just go ahead and validate these votes? Because it doesn't matter who you vote for, the Electoral College is going to vote for whoever they want to. That's not true. It's blatantly false. But when you see moves like this, that nonsense other people talk about on social media, have no clue what they're talking about, you realize, oh, they must not understand how this works. So all this is taking place now. And now I got the breaking news story before we came on the air, that there's been a reversal in what's going on in Wayne County with the board of canvassers. Because otherwise, I'm telling you right now, you trying to invalidate black people's votes in Detroit, you're going to have some mass protests coming out against you. I'm telling you right now. There's some people in Detroit that are furious behind this. All right. So we'll deal with those topics, and then we'll deal with some history as well. This date in African-American history, there was a good post by the Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org, November 17th, 37. Students and faculty at University of North Carolina host Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh, you don't want to miss that one. One of some future Donald Trump supporters with that one. I'm not sure. But we'll see. Okay. And then Joe Biden is making some key moves in putting together the people who are going to be in his administration. USA Today has a good article dealing with that. And there was announcements made today. One of them was Representative Cedric Richmond of Louisiana. Cedric Richmond is a past chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. He was Donald Trump's coach. He was Joe Biden's co-chair in this campaign. Joe Biden's co-chair. But Joe Biden names 9 top White House appointees, including Representative Cedric Richmond and campaign manager Jen O'Malley Dillon. Okay, Jen O'Malley Dillon. So we'll talk about that as well. All right. So on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct your own behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events in history and politics, education, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Sign up for our email newsletter. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. Text the word Kemet, K-E-M-E-T, to 22828. To sign up for our email newsletter. Also, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can sign up for our email newsletter there as well at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. If you'd like to stop for information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App, $ TheAHNShow through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHNShow, paypal.me/TheAHNShow also. All right, so yeah, it's a lot going on. COVID-19 cases are on the rise in all 50 states. NBC News data shows, and we talked about Sunday night. We talked about the art. We talked about the story. Washington Post had the story dealing with how African Americans and Hispanics. No, it was New York Times. U.S. surpasses 11 million infections. Black and Latino Americans still shoulder an outsized share. Read that article from the New York Times. Okay. And once again, I've been studying coronavirus since late January 2020. I've been seeing the trajectory that this is going on. I've been ahead of the curve, warning people about these spikes that are coming, warning people about these surges that are coming. So, all right. Okay, calling number is 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So I'm going to go to this update here from the Washington Post, because following this story earlier today, I was pretty perturbed to the highest of I was upset. Let me put it like that. During the break, commercial break, I'll tell you what I really think. But we posted the article earlier in the day from WXYZ Channel 7 News in Detroit. Wayne County Board of Canvassers changes course. The story we originally posted was Board of Canvassers deadlocked on certifying election results in Wayne County, Michigan. Board of Canvassers deadlocked on certifying election results in Wayne County, Michigan. That was originally the story we posted. Now, for those that don't know, Wayne County is the county that the city of Detroit is in. Detroit is the most populous city in the city in the state of Michigan. Detroit is the most populous city in the state of Michigan. 2 GOP canvassers voted against certification. So we see that WXYZ Channel 7 News has an update to that article, to that story. We'll post that. Washington Post, I got an email from the Washington Post shortly before coming on the air. They have a update. In reversal, GOP officials in key Michigan counties certify ballot count after striking a compromise with Democrats. Now, Republican appointees on a key board in Michigan's most populous county Tuesday night reversed their initial refusal to certify the vote tallies in the Detroit area, striking a last-minute compromise with Democrats that defused a political fight over the process to formalize President-elect Joe Biden's victory in the state. The unexpected twist came after the 4-member Wayne County Board of Canvassers had deadlocked on the day of the deadline, because the day was the deadline to certify these votes. The unexpected twist came after the 4-member Wayne County Board of Canvassers had deadlocked on the day of the deadline for Michigan counties to certify the vote, a move Donald Trump celebrated on Twitter as, quote, a beautiful thing, end quote, a beautiful thing. This is what he tweeted today. The Trump campaign has alleged irregularities in the vote count in the county seat of Detroit. Accusations city officials have vigorously denied. Democrats accused GOP officials of seeking to disenfranchise voters in the majority black city of Detroit. The majority black city of Detroit. I'm telling you right now, dude, it was going to be some protests coming behind this right here. First of all, you had white Donald Trump supporters coming into at the outside the TCF Center protesting, trying to stop the count of black people's vote, right? And alleging fraud, and they had no evidence of fraud. Then you're going to try to pull this right here. State Democrats say Trump has no hope of overturning Joe Biden's 148,000 vote lead. Now, Donald Trump won the state of Michigan by 10,704 votes. Joe Biden has 10 times that. Joe Biden is going to win Michigan by 10 times what Donald Trump won Michigan by in 2016. Trump supporters have urged Michigan's majority Republican state legislature to try to appoint its own electors if the state canvassing board, split evenly between Democrats and Republicans, fails to certify the vote before the Electoral College meets in December. Electoral College votes December 14th. So you had Republicans who are underhanded, many of them. Let's just call it what it is. Underhanded, who are trying to invalidate the votes of black people, invalidate the votes of African Americans. And you had some Donald Trump supporters who wanted Republicans in the state legislature to have their own slate of electors, Republican electors, to vote on December 14th. These are the games these people are trying to play. These are the games these people are trying to play. Now, Jenna Ellis, who is a Trump campaign legal advisor, said, quote, if the state board follows suit, the Republican state legislature will select the electors. Huge win for @real Donald Trump. Okay, this is what Trump campaign legal advisor Jenna Ellis tweeted Tuesday night, November 17th, after the initial Wayne County deadlock. Okay. Let me know how much time before the break, Shakita. But experts said such a move would have been on shaky legal ground, and key GOP lawmakers have acknowledged Joe Biden's win and said they do not plan to attempt to intervene. Okay, these people around Trump, these are some of the most unscrupulous, lawless people I've ever seen. These are some of the most corrupt people I've ever seen. But experts said such a move would have been on shaky legal ground. Well, Donald Trump don't care about the law. When we come back from break, we're going to tell you about this case that was thrown out in the state of Pennsylvania. That dumbass Rudy Giuliani was up there trying to argue. Okay, this is an example of how elections have consequences. This is what happens when you let somebody incompetent become president in the first place. Donald Trump. This is what happens. You listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation and Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and free of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black-owned, big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com, that's thepinkbakery.com, to order their No Frowny Brownie Mix today. For 25 years, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the Black Museum movement in America by showcasing original artifacts of the Black experience at colleges, universities, K-12 schools, corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid was named among the change makers for NBC Universal's Erase the Hate campaign and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He recently founded the Michigan Hip Hop Archive on the campus of Western Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is currently scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid Al Hakim directly at 313-645-4197, 313-645-4197, or visit their website at blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him at bhistory101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Sage and Elm Apothecary creates unique products, especially with you in mind. They use simple ingredients such as whole fruits, herbs, and vegetables. Each product crafted offers a unique plant-based experience. Their holistic approach to self-care formulate their product inventory. They're proud to serve our community of plant-based product supporters and offerings for the entire family. Sage and Elm Apothecary designs over 60 different beautifully handcrafted soaps, natural toothpaste, hydrating oils, deodorants, face masks, shampoos, conditioners, and so much more. Visit their website at sageandelmapothecary.com. That's sageandelmapothecary.com, APOTHECARY, and find out about their upcoming events throughout the year. Allow Sage and Elm Apothecary to provide for all of your plant-based needs. Use promo code AHNWinter20, AHNWinter20 for a special discount. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. Hey, I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Tuesday, November 17th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a crazy day, crazy news day. Okay, we're going to continue. We'll go to the phone lines in just a minute here, just a second. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Okay, so you probably heard this story. It was on MSNBC a lot of the day today. Is dealing with the Board of Canvassers in the county of Wayne, Michigan. The county of Wayne is the county that the city of Detroit is in. And what was reported earlier today, we posted the article from WXYZ Channel 7 here in Detroit, is that Board of Canvassers deadlocked on certifying election results in Wayne County. Okay. 2 GOP canvassers voted against certification. Well, there's an update in that story. WXYZ Channel 7 did an update a little while ago, actually this evening. And yeah, they did. They did one actually tonight. And then also Washington Post has an update on that story. In reversal, GOP officials in key Michigan County certify ballot count after striking a compromise with Democrats. This is from the Washington Post. So after the initial deadlock in Wayne County was met with an outpouring of condemnation, I'm telling you right now, the wrath of God was about to come down on these people. People in Detroit, African Americans in Detroit were off. They were p-offed to the highest of p-offtivity. Okay, yeah, I'll tell you during the break what I really think. After the initial lockdown in Wayne County was met with an outpouring of condemnation, that's to put it lightly, the Board of Canvassers recessed Tuesday night and returned with a new agreement to certify the results, along with a request that the Secretary of State's office conduct a comprehensive audit of the vote tallies. Republican Board Chairman Monica Palmer, who initially said that she did not, quote, have faith that the poll books are complete and accurate, end quote, said that the compromise addressed her concerns. Now, with Republican Chair Monica Palmer, and you're welcome to come on the show and defend this, would she be making this argument if most of these votes were for Trump and Trump won Michigan? If the same irregularities that they claim, if they existed, but Trump won Michigan, would she be making this? Would she refuse to certify the votes? I want to see where these Republicans that talking about they're standing up for a fair election. Show me a county that Trump won that you refuse to certify the votes in because you said. Where me a county where the Republican Board of Canvassers said we're not going to certify these parties, and it's a county Trump wants. Show it to me. Where is it? What's the name of the county? What state is it in? Now, Monica Palmer, Republican Board Chair Monica Palmer, said, quote, I appreciate putting our heads together to come to a solution. Now, the initial refusal of the Wayne County GOP officials to certify the vote drew outrage from Democrats who said the Republicans were playing with the vote and emotional objections from local emotional objections from local election officials who noted their staff have worked 16 hours a day for the past 2 weeks to certify the results. Now, Jennifer Richmond, the deputy director of elections for Wayne County, and once again, Wayne County is the county that Detroit is in. Detroit is basically the blackest city in the country, and Detroit is the most populous city in not just the county of Wayne, but in the state of Michigan. Jennifer Richmond, the deputy director of elections for Wayne County, said, quote, we have been tirelessly we have been here tirelessly. Okay. And she called the move a slap in the face. Now, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who was on MSNBC today, talking about this issue right here, called the 2 Republican votes against certification a, quote, blatant attempt to undermine the will of the voters, end quote, a blatant attempt to undermine the will of the voters. You know, it's just like Lindsey Graham. We're going to deal with this story from little Lindsey running around here trying to put pressure on the Secretary of State of Georgia, right? And then Lindsey Graham said that he talked to the Secretary of State of Arizona. Secretary of State of Arizona came out and said that conversation never took place. We didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about certifying the votes in Arizona or not certifying the votes in Arizona. But Lindsey Graham said that it's because he was asked, it was a reporter from MSNBC asked him, why is a senator from South Carolina contacting the Secretary of State from Georgia? You don't represent the people of Georgia. And he said that because this is the most something to the effect, this is most consequential election or something like that. Let me ask you a question, Lindsey Graham, and you're welcome to call into the show because people can contact us. I'll be happy to interview Senator Lindsey Graham. Oh, I got a bunch of questions for you, sir. What state did Donald Trump win that you contacted the Secretary of State to ask them to give them advice on verifying signatures? Give them advice on verifying signatures. And then according to the Secretary of State of Georgia, Raffensperger, you putting pressure on him to throw out votes. So if that's the case, did you put pressure on the Secretary of State of North Carolina to throw out votes there? Because Donald Trump won North Carolina. Are there any states that Donald Trump won that you contacted the Secretary of State to give them advice on how to throw out votes? Or is it just states that Donald Trump lost? I'm just wondering. Because what I find interesting is just like this case in Pennsylvania. In dumbass Rudy Giuliani led 600,000 false votes. 600,000 votes should be thrown out. And he's saying they're for Joe Biden, right? Are there any votes for Donald Trump that you claim are invalid? I haven't heard any of them. Rudy Giuliani, Senator Lindsey Graham, all these people. Are there any votes for Donald Trump that you claim are invalid? I'm just wondering. So Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Democrat, called the 2 Republican votes against certification a, quote, blatant attempt to undermine the will of the voters, end quote. Governor Gretchen Whitmer said the process, however, will move forward. She said in a statement, under Michigan law, the Board of State Canvassers will now finish the job, and I have every expectation they will certify the results with when the job is done, end quote. Now, the reversal in Michigan came as the Trump campaign has faced a string of failures in its beleaguered effort to overturn the result of the election through the courts. So Donald Trump has gotten 218 federal judges confirmed to the U.S. to the federal bench. That's a result of an election. That's understand the powers of the president, and those 218 federal judges were confirmed through the U.S. Senate that has been controlled by Republicans since 2014. That's the result of an election. In the latest defeat on Tuesday, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejected the Trump campaign's claim that GOP observers did not have sufficient access to the vote count, underscoring how Donald Trump's claims of voting irregularities have repeatedly run aground before judges. Because see, what's happened is when Trump's attorneys go into court, they got to take an oath to tell the truth, penalty of perjury. And they're not going to go in there and perjure themselves for Donald Trump. It don't matter how much he's paying them. Because when the judge asks them, okay, are you alleging fraud? They're saying, no, judge, we're not alleging fraud. Because they're under oath and they know if they lie, the evidence is not there to support them alleging fraud. And they know they're going to be brought up on perjury charges. And that's a 5-year felony. And they're not going to do 5 years for Donald Trump. Let's go to the phone lines. We'll give you some more updates on this. This we place on election day, November 2nd. Point massacre of 1920, where 50 African Americans were killed. Many of them trying to exercise their right to vote. And then the day before that massacre, Klan came through, community threatening, we will be you, and they followed through on that. So see, when you mess with black people's votes, the wrath of God is gonna come down on you. I'm serious. You don't know what you're dealing with. You don't understand what you're playing with. Okay, you had Paula White, evangelist Paula White, talking about African angels are coming to help Donald Trump. There was some spirits of the African ancestors that came, but they ain't come to help Donald Trump. They came to push him out of office. Okay, see, the wrong African ancestors showed up. There were some warriors that showed up to take Donald Trump out of office, to put it politely. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Al, line 1. Al, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from.
What's going on, Mike? I'm calling from Detroit.
All right, Al. Thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for holding. Go ahead with your question or comment.
Man, when I saw that headline, I almost lost it.
Brother, yep.
I'm just telling you, they talking about people picketing. They can go into the house and go into her house. I guarantee,
brother,
just she locked down her social media account and got offline.
Hold on, you said she shut down her social media account?
You know she shut them down. She had to.
Okay. All right. We don't know that for certain, but you're speculating. Okay.
No. I'm just speculating because
okay.
You know, and I know people would have been looking for her, man. They would have been calling all kind of names. I don't understand with these people. I listened to the previous show, and this guy got to come with some stuff about integrity. I'm like, man, do you realize that black people die for the right to vote? If they don't want to vote, that's on them. But you're not going to take their vote away from them.
Well, not only that, brother, we want to talk about integrity. Every last one of these cases, there's been more than a dozen cases that the Trump campaign has brought in various states. Every last one of these cases has been thrown out, except for one case in Pennsylvania, and the allegations were that back when they were counting the votes, the allegations were that the Republican poll watchers were not allowed to be as close to the people counting the votes as they wanted to. So they let them be 6 feet away as opposed to 20 feet away. That's like the only lawsuit they've won.
But that lawsuit right, because if you saw what the gentleman said in Pennsylvania, if you saw that they had since it's COVID, my thing is COVID going on. I don't think you want anybody breathing your neck that you don't know where they come from.
Right.
But they have a video where you can see the actual TV. So that don't really hold no.
Right. They had live streaming. They had live streaming of the vote count. Hold on just a second. So for people that don't know, in the state of Pennsylvania and in some other states, there was live streaming of them counting the votes. Okay. So you could tune in and see what was going on also. Go ahead.
Well, I'm saying, me and you could have logged on. That's what I'm about to say about that.
Right.
You could log on from Michigan and watch the count.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why, me personally, I don't know why you people grasping for straws. When was the last time Giuliani actually went before the judge to actually argue the case, man? I mean,
it's like first time in about 30 years, they said. It's about first time in about 30 years, I think it's been. Something like that.
So what in the world are you trying to go before? Because the other lawyers knew that, man, this thing was an embarrassment. I want to mess up my reputation. Before I get off, though, I don't know what these... Listen, I try not to, I don't like to bring race into it, but I don't think, like you talked about the matter, I don't think these white people understand the history of voting when it comes to African-American people. They must don't know the history. People died for the right to vote. The freedom riders were riding. I'm listening to some of these white people, and like I said, I don't know their history. I don't know if they know the history of America when it comes to voting. But they might.
A lot of them don't. A lot of white people don't understand history either. A lot of white people are ignorant of history as well.
They need to watch Eye on the Prize then. They don't understand how bad black people want to know about voting.
Right.
See Eye on the Prize because some of these people are just delusional. You have a good one, Mike.
All right, brother. All right, thanks for calling, Al. So Al mentioned Eyes on the Prize. We're gonna go to John in just a second here. Al mentioned Eyes on the Prize. So go watch Eyes on the Prize. It's on YouTube. Now I've got the box set, the first installment, which is 1955. It starts with the killing of Imhotep, August 28th, 19 through 65 when the voting of 1960 with that, right? But when about from later in the 80s, and it dealt with from about 1965 through the 1980s. That second installment also deals with the Deacons for Defense and Justice. The Deacons for Defense and Justice were founded in July 1964. I think it was July 10th, 1964 in Jonesboro, Louisiana. And these were African-American men, many of them former Korean War veterans and some World War II veterans, who armed themselves to protect the civil rights workers who were protesting nonviolently. The civil rights protesters may not have been armed, but the Deacons for Defense were armed. So Deacons for Defense are sitting in the car. They show Eyes on Fire. You can go watch it on YouTube right now. You can see. You don't understand history. See. You need to read this. You need to read this book right here. See, because you don't understand. See, you don't understand the people you're dealing with, and you don't understand the type of ancestors we had. You need to read this book right here by Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. This book is called "This Nonviolent Stuff to Get You Killed: How Guns Made the Civil Rights Movement Possible." This is a history book. Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. was a field secretary for SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, for 5 years in rural Mississippi. This is Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. He ain't just a history professor. He was actually a civil rights worker, and he was a member of SNCC, which was founded in about between April, May 1960, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. SNCC comes out of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, founded in 1957, co-founded by Dr. King and Ella Baker. Ella Baker is going to then go on to help found SNCC. SNCC comes out of Southern Christian Leadership Conference. Well, when you read this book, and Roland Martin interviewed back in about 2016, Roland Martin interviewed Charles E. Cobb Jr. on News One Now with Roland Martin. It's on newsone.com. It's probably on YouTube. You can go check out that interview. Then Roland interviewed Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. for 2 hours on Roland's radio show, because Roland did News One Now from like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. And then he did his nationally syndicated radio show 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I know because I used to guest host his nationally syndicated radio show a lot. So he interviewed Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. for 2 hours. And he's breaking down all this history and how it was African Americans who were gun owners. It was African Americans with guns who were protecting the civil rights workers while they're doing their nonviolent direct action protests. Okay. And he said, when the civil rights workers first got down there, we're going to John in just a second. He said, when the civil rights workers first got down to Mississippi, because see, Mississippi had the most number of lynchings. Okay. Mississippi had over 500 lynchings, somewhere from like 1882 to 1968, something like that. Mississippi is where Emmett Till was killed August 28th, 1955. In Money, Mississippi. Mississippi is where the civil rights workers Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney were killed June 21st, 1964 in Philadelphia, Mississippi. So Professor Charles E. Cobb Jr. said when the civil rights workers first got down to Mississippi, he said the African Americans in Mississippi said, we know you're nonviolent, but we're not. And we're not going to let these white people kill you. So he talked about how it was African Americans with guns that were protecting the quote unquote nonviolent civil rights workers. And he said when they stayed at people's homes, they stay at people's homes over the night and things like this. They're traveling throughout Mississippi because they're just traveling through. And every black person's home they stayed in, all the black people had guns, had shotguns over the mantle place, guns on the things like this. You grew up in the and you grow up with arms. So you have to be able to the property. So that's the culture you grow up in. Okay. So you look like this. Of eyes deal with the Deacons for Defense, self-defense. But if it had not been for Negroes with guns, there would not have been a civil rights movement. And Professor James Small, one of my teachers, Professor James Small told me personally, he said, The civil rights movement was not a nonviolent movement. When you go study this, even Dr. King owned guns until Bayard Rustin convinced him to get rid of them. In 1956, early 1956, it was either January or February, Dr. King tried to get a concealed pistol license in Montgomery, Alabama, because he was getting death threats. His house was firebombed right around January 29th, 1956. And his house was firebombed twice in 1956. This is during the Montgomery bus boycott. So Paula White called on some African angels, but the wrong one showed up. The wrong African ant showed up. It was the Negroes with guns that showed up. That's what showed up. To a John, welcome to that. Where you calling from?
You do that when you would, okay? Hey, listen. You know the gentleman that come out and said that he didn't sign no bad voting and regulation and nothing like that. The season Trump fired him. You know, Trump fired him.
Yeah, so that's another story I'm going to talk about. I posted that, and we're going to continue this discussion on our social media platforms. That's something else that happened today. So that was Chris Krebs, Krebs. Chris Krebs was the director of the CISA, is just a cybersecurity department dealing with Homeland Security, and he put out a statement. He put out a statement a few days ago, and we talked about it here on this show, that the 2020 presidential election was the most secure election. Okay, well, Donald Trump, the president of lawlessness and disorder, fired him today for putting that statement out. Go ahead.
And you talk about them two characters that put the kibosh on Detroit. I'm not surprised, Jose. You know that they had some of these characters right here. They seen somebody downtown with a red wagon, with a bunch of ballots and late at night. You know?
Right. So outside the TCF Center. So they alleged that 100,000 ballots were brought into the TCF Center. Just a bunch of nonsense, bunch of lies. And in all these cases, when they go to court, hold on just a second, John. All these cases, when they go to court, like the one that they took to court in Wayne County, all these cases get thrown out because of lack of evidence. All these cases get thrown out because of lack of evidence.
And they told the false lie that they had somebody on the inside, went to the city that told them that they refused to say the ballots was thrown in the towers, all that stuff. So I just want to thank you for giving knowledge out, man. A lot of knowledge and so forth.
Yeah.
Just keep up the good work. And
all right.
Safe, man.
All right, John.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for calling. Okay, let's go to Jackson, line 3. Jackson, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding, Jackson. Do we have Jackson? Okay, let's go to line 4. Let's go to Ryan. Ryan, line 4. Welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from. Thanks for holding. Who we have next, Shakita? Whoever we have next, let's go to the next caller. Okay, that's it for the callers. Let's go to the I sent you a clip. This is dealing with I sent you a clip from MSNBC Morning Joe. This is dealing with little Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, who used to have a spine, used to have a backbone, but it went away. I think Lindsey Graham's spine is buried in Senator John McCain's casket. So Senator Lindsey Graham is denying claims that he pressured Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger to find ways to throw out legal ballots, telling reporters Monday that it's ridiculous to interpret their conversation that way. They talked about this morning on Morning Joe. Let's go to this clip.
Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says he has come under increasing pressure in recent days from Republicans intent on questioning the validity of legally cast absentee ballots in an effort to reverse President Trump's loss in the state. In an interview with the Washington Post, Raffensperger expressed exasperation over a string of baseless allegations coming from Trump and his allies about the integrity of the Georgia results, including claims that Dominion Voting Systems is a leftist company with ties to Venezuela that engineered thousands of Trump votes to be left out of the count. The piece goes on. The atmosphere has grown so contentious, Raffensperger said, that he and his wife, Tricia, have received death threats in recent days. Of the threats, he told the paper, quote, other than getting you angry, it's also very disillusioning, particularly when it comes from people on my side of the aisle. Everyone that is working on this needs to elevate their speech. We need to be thoughtful and careful about what we say. Raffensperger saved his harshest language for Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia, who's leading the president's efforts in Georgia, whom Raffensperger's called a, quote, liar and a charlatan. Collins has questioned Raffensperger's handling of the vote and accused him of capitulating to Democrats by not backing allegations of voter fraud more strongly. Raffensperger also said Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina asked him on Friday if he had the power to toss out ballots in counties found to have higher rates of non-matching signatures. Senator Graham also questioned if poll workers had accepted ballots with non-matching signatures due to their political bias. Legally suggested because counties administer elections in Georgia. It sure looked like he was wanting to go down that road, Raffensperger said. Senator Graham denied that interaction to NBC News.
According to Washington Post, that he was surprised when you asked him if he has any power to throw out all mail-in ballots.
I never said that. I said, do you have power as Secretary of State to require bipartisan verification of a signature? Because right now they don't. What I want to see happen all over the country, if we're going to use mail-in voting to affect federal elections, is that when it comes to verifying signature, that you have a process that's bipartisan. Both sides can look at the signature. There's a dispute about whether or not you think it's valid, you put it in some kind of appeal system.
Senator Lindsey Graham there. Let's bring in political reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Greg Bluestein. He's a must-read and a must-follow if you're interested about what's going on in the state of Georgia. Greg, good to see you this morning. So, boy, this Secretary of State, again, a Republican, is under incredible pressure, not just inside the state of Georgia, but nationally. The two senators there running for re-election, the two Republicans, have called on him to resign. You have a sitting Congressman, Doug Collins, trying to get Raffensperger to claim, anyway, that there's voter fraud in the state. Raffensperger said there's not. He called Collins a failed candidate and a liar. So can you speak to that dynamic and how he's holding up so well under all this heat?
Yeah, this is an extraordinary rift within the Republican Party in Georgia at a time when Republicans can honestly ill afford it. I mean, we've got runoffs in January 5th for control of the U.S. Senate. And not long ago, it was Secretary Raffensperger was under attack by Democrats for upholding what they believed would be laws that were supporting voter suppression. Now he is kind of the last bulwark between the integrity of the vote and pro-Trump supporters who are leveling unsubstantiated claims of widespread fraud. And again, there's no evidence whatsoever of any of these claims.
And COVID-19 cases in Illinois have surged.
Hey, pause it right there, Shakita. Pause it right there,
Shakita. Marked the 10th consecutive day.
Okay, thanks. All right, how much time we have left in the show, Shakita? Okay, so
you have 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, cool. Thanks. All right. Check out this article from Huffington Post. Lindsey Graham denies pressuring Georgia official to toss illegal ballots. Now, someone else who was on that call, along with Georgia Secretary Raffensperger, corroborated what Secretary of State Raffensperger said. Okay. So here you have Republicans in Georgia putting pressure on the Republican Secretary of State to throw out ballots to swing the election in Georgia towards Donald Trump. You got two GOP members on the board of canvassers here in the county of Wayne who refuse to certify black people's votes. Okay. Because of irregularities, they're apparently trying to sway the election into for Donald Trump. So you have to ask, well, what's really behind all this? They're trying to disenfranchise African Americans' votes in 2020. Okay, so check out the article from WXYZ Channel 7.com, and then check out the article from Washington Post as well. In reversal, GOP officials in key Michigan County certify ballot count after striking a compromise with Democrats. Okay. We're going to continue this discussion on social media platforms. We have a few minutes here left in the show here on 910 a.m. Superstation, WFDF in Detroit. Follow us on our social media platforms, The African History Network on Facebook, The African History Network on Facebook, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. We're broadcasting there. Let's go to some history here. We've been talking about history because all history is a current event. Everything that's ever happened continues to happen in some shape, form, or fashion. And the people, that's what Dr. John Henry Clark in the People's History and Culture teaches them how to deal with the problems of the past in the present and the future to meet the needs of the community. That's Michael Imhotep. That's my quote. Let's go to Equal Justice Initiative. This date in African American history, November 17th, 1937, 1,000 white students and faculty at the University of North Carolina host Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, some of their children are Donald Trump supporters. I'm not saying they're Klansmen. I'm just saying some of their children or grandchildren are Donald Trump supporters. On November 17th, 1937, over 1,000 white students and faculty at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill gathered to attend a speech openly advocating for white supremacy by the Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Dr. Hiram Evans. Dr. Hiram Evans, Hiram. The UNC the UNC University of North Carolina Political Science Department and the Carolina Political Union hosted the event entitled America and the Klan. America and the Klan. Now, this is 1937. This is during the Great Depression. Okay. This is 4 years before the U.S. gets involved in World War I. All right. Amidst the rise of Nazism in Europe, Dr. Hiram Evans told students, quote, "What America needs most now to restore the good old days when nations loved each other is a universal dose of the Ku Klux Klan." Now, the Ku Klux Klan was revived in 1915, partly because of the movie The Birth of a Nation that showed the Klan as being the heroes. And the movie The Birth of a Nation, directed by D.W. Griffith, was based upon a novel by a man named Reverend Thomas Dixon. That novel was called The Klansman. Now, Dr. Hiram Evans said that, quote, "The Klan will continue to insist on white supremacy, for experience has shown that nations that have mixed breeds with the black race have found themselves headed for destruction," end quote. Now, Dr. Hiram Evans also urged that, quote, "America had admitted too many foreigners who were, quote, responsible for most of our country's social and economic ills, and that America must be dominated by Americans or aliens." This is what he said. Well, who you call an American? Because when we look at the Noah Webster Dictionary, 1828 edition of the Noah Webster Dictionary, it defines an American as the Aboriginal or copper color races of the. It tells you this is who the Europeans found the Americas. American originally did not apply to Europeans. Americans originally did not apply to white Anglo-Saxon males, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Okay. And Anglos is derived from England, and Anglos and the Saxons were two groups of Germanic people also called barbarians. That's a whole nother lesson. We can do that another time. We can talk about the Lombards and the Jutes and the Alans and the Picts and the Anglos and the Saxons and these groups of Germanic people called barbarians. You know, that's a whole nother show. But American, the term American didn't even refer to these people. So Dr. Hiram Evans warned students of the rise of black leadership in the South. He warned students of the rise of black leadership in the South, urging white students and faculty to join the Ku Klux Klan to combat black political power. Oh, you mean like disenfranchise black people's votes? You mean not like two GOP people who serve on the board of canvassers now want to certify votes in County of Wayne, and most of these votes are from Detroit, or a large percentage from Detroit? You mean like that? You mean like Senator Lindsey Graham trying to undermine black people's votes in the state of Georgia and sway the election towards Donald Trump? Dr. Hiram Evans, Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, warned these white students at the University of North Carolina in 1937 of the rise of black leadership in the South, urging white students and faculty to join the Ku Klux Klan to combat black political power. Okay, this show has been brought to you by the Jim James, Paul and Tyrone Moving Company. They have a special right now. 75% off people moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, this is only good for one day. January 20th, 2021. Get 20% off. Call 1-866-CALL-TYRONE. They're going to help you move your stuff. Use the promo code DJT, pack your stuff. Call 1-866-CALL-TYRONE, the Jim James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. Okay, get 75% off. Now, this is only good for people moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue on January 20th, 2021. Okay, for entertainment purposes only. For entertainment purposes only. Okay, all right. You can donate to the African History Network show, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, $ TheAHN Show through Cash App, and also through PayPal, paypal.me/TheAHN Show. We're going to continue this on our social media platforms. This discussion, The African History Network on Facebook, Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Remember that at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now, it's correct wrong behaviors, not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. All right, let's continue here. How's everybody doing? All right. How's everybody doing? And the second part of this show is sponsored by the Jim James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. Okay. We help you move your stuff. They help you move your stuff. All right, African American business owners, if you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. I think we got 3 spots left. I think we brought on one another advertiser this morning. Got to follow with them. But we have like 3 spots left. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. Are you ready for a new black economy? Well, Hapi, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization, is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Hapi film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until today. The underlying theme of the film is the interrelationship between the 3 essential components of economics, politics, and culture. Hapi brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the fields of psychology, history, business, and politics, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Zahi Hawass, and Jabari Osazi, and more. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming on all digital formats, or for DVD, please visit Hapi, H-A-P-I, hapifilm.com. Use offer code Hapi, AHN, for a 10% discount. The books Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville and Brooklyn Softball Adventures are from authors Sidney Carujo, Brooklyn Carujo, and Shanine Dials Carujo. In Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville, readers will join Ivy and Catalina as they tour the small town of Sellville with their grandparents to learn about the world of science. The girls will learn about the structures and functions of the cell. This book provides great analogies that make learning about the cell easy for kids. The book Brooklyn Softball Adventures takes readers on the journey with Brooklyn through her first 2 seasons of playing softball. Through facing adversity, Brooklyn and her teammates build their confidence and learn to love the game. The book encourages children to try new things and never accept defeat. Ivy and Catalina Visit Sellville is by Sidney Carujo and Shanine Dials Carujo. And Brooklyn's Softball Adventures is by Brooklyn Carujo and Shanine Dials Carujo. Both books are available right now at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, and Target.com. The revolution will not be televised. It will be digitized, coded, and branded. Don't let your young person get left behind. Join Tech Core 2 on Saturday, September 26, 2020 in their 6th straight year, providing tech, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, coding, and Saturday classes. Tech Core 2's mission is to develop a technology pipeline program for urban youth from kindergarten to college to career entry. Tech Core 2 offers 9 different tech classes for students in grades kindergarten through high school, including computer programming, coding, gaming, hip hop and STEM, and video production. All classes are online with live instruction. To register or for more information, please visit techcore2.org. That's techcore2.org, or give them a call at 215-879-6701. That's 215-879-6701. Don't forget to grab your $10 discount with promo code TAHN Fall 2020. Okay. I want to continue with this history lesson here. This is from Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org, the Equal Justice Initiative. And this deals with November 17th, 1937. November 17th, 1937. 1,000 white students and faculty at the University of North Carolina host Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. His name was Dr. Hiram Evans. Okay. He was the Imperial Wizard. His name was Dr. Hiram Evans. Let's see where we leave off. Okay. So Dr. Hiram Evans warned students of the rise of black leadership in the South, urging white students and faculty to join the Ku Klux Klan to combat black political power. Now, as Dr. Hiram Evans spewed racism and intolerance, the more than 1,000 white students and faculty showed support and enjoyment of racial insults and threats throughout the event. Now, locals viewed people who live there in North Carolina, who were locals. They viewed Dr. Hiram Evans' visit as an attempt to launch a new public Ku Klux Klan chapter. And covering Dr. Evans' 1937 speech, the Daily Tar Heel newspaper, Carolina's student newspaper, noted that since the chapter first launched privately in 1921, quote, the KKK has grown to the strongest secret organization in existence, end quote. This is the daily newspaper for University of North Carolina, Daily Tar Heel, Carolina's student newspaper. They noted, quote, the KKK has grown to the strongest secret organization in existence. They noted that since the chapter first launched privately in 1921. Now, North Carolina's ties to the Ku Klux Klan persisted well into the 21st century. In the 1920s, University of North Carolina named Saunders Hall a campus building after William Saunders, Saunders, who was the leader of the North Carolina Ku Klux Klan. Okay, they named Saunders Hall, which was a building there on the University of North Carolina campus. They named it after a leader of the Ku Klux Klan. Despite decades of student activism seeking to change this name, Saunders Hall remained the name on the building until 2015. Saunders Hall remained the name on the building until 2015. Check this out at Equal Justice Initiative, EJI.org. 1,000 white students and faculty at the University of North Carolina host Imperial Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, some people are wishing for those good old days, but I'm here to tell you we're not going back. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow the people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Okay? So when you understand your history, you ain't going to let people take you back like that. This is what we have to understand. When you understand your history, you're not going to let people take you back like that. All right. So let's continue. How's everybody doing? We got Toya. We've got who else we have here? We got Toya. We have Al-Qadar, Love Safari, who else? Joy, Denise, Brittany Neal. Okay, I think we follow each other on Instagram, Brittany. B Buccaneer, Patricia, Blade, Rosalind, just a few of the people watching this on our social media platforms. All right, let's continue with this. I want to go. So on the beat with Ari Melber, on MSNBC today, he covered this. And this is just a sample of all this stuff because I'm studying all day long and reading articles. I just post on our Facebook fan page, the African History Network, and my personal page, Michael Imhotep. I just post a fraction of the articles that I read. So I'm just going to try to give you like a summary of some of this stuff. It's so much that took place today. But I want to go to this clip here. In the wake of Trump loss, GOP senator ensnared in voting scandal. This is an update on Senator Lindsey Graham. See, this is serious because Senator Lindsey Graham he's a senior senator and he chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee. Okay, so he ain't a freshman. Okay, he knows what he's doing. It ain't like he made a mistake. Okay, he got caught. But ain't like he just, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know the rules. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm new. Oh, this is my first year as a senator. No, that's not the case. All right, let's go to this clip here. New bombshell allegations against Senator Lindsey Graham assert he pushed to have legally cast ballots thrown out during a phone call with Georgia's Republican Secretary of State. MSNBC's Ari Melber discusses the breaking story with Judiciary Committee member Representative Hakeem Jeffries of New York, represents Brooklyn there in the state of New York, who asserts Senator Lindsey Graham, quote, may have crossed the line into illegality, quote unquote, in an effort to, quote, rip away, quote, Biden's victory. Let's go to this clip. All right, let's see. Hold on just a second here. All right, let's start this over.
Ally, Lindsey Graham, facing an outcry and new calls for an investigation after something we mentioned at the top of the program. This is, make no mistake, a bombshell scandal allegation. Georgia's Secretary of State, who's a Republican, saying that Senator Graham called him on the phone, pressuring him to explore how they might just throw out what were apparently valid and legal ballots that helped Joe Biden win the state. Listen.
Senator Graham applied for us to audit the envelopes and then throw out the ballots for counties who had the highest frequency error of signatures. He asked if the ballots could be matched back to the voters, and then I got the sense it implied that then you could throw those out. So it's just an implication that look hard and see how many ballots you could throw out.
Okay, now just very quickly, that was Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger. When he was talking, he was on CBS this morning in the first part. And then the second two excerpts you heard of him, he's on CNN talking to Wolf Blitzer. He's in national media talking about what happened. All right, let's go back to this clip.
Georgia's Secretary of State specifically laying out an allegation against Senator Graham. Now, today, a top aide to the secretary, who also is a Republican, saying he was also on the phone call. This is what legally would be called corroboration and backing up that very account.
What I heard was basically discussions about absentee ballots, and if there was a percentage of signatures that weren't really truly matching, is there some point where you get to where you could say, if somebody went to a courtroom, could say, we'll throw out all these ballots because we have no way of knowing because the ballots are separated?
These are officials in this state who happen to be in the same party as Lindsey Graham, blowing the whistle on him. They're doing this in real time, contemporaneously, presumably because they want people to have the facts, and they're doing it in coordination so people understand exactly what they say happened. Now, as with all stories, you get all sides. Here's Senator Graham when asked directly about these accounts.
Did you or did you not ask him to throw out votes?
No, that's ridiculous. I talked to him about how you verify signatures.
Why is the senator from South Carolina calling the Secretary of State in Georgia anyway?
Because the future of the country hangs in the balance. I've talked to Doug Ducey in Arizona. I've talked to the people in Nevada. We've got contests all over the nation.
Wow. That's some kind of answer. Senator Graham going out to further admit that he's actually just talking to people in numerous states. As a basic primer, a United States senator has a lot more business talking to officials in their own state than other ones. The allegation here is that a sitting Republican senator is basically pressuring officials to throw out legal ballots to get what he wants.
Yeah, let me just pause it right here. Now, the Secretary of State of Arizona tweeted that he has not talked to Lindsey Graham. That conversation didn't take place. Lindsey Graham mentioned Nevada, Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona. Those are all states that Joe Biden won. Those are all states being called for Joe Biden. Did you talk to the Secretary of State in North Carolina? Because Donald Trump won North Carolina. Did you talk to the Secretary of State in Alaska? Did you talk to the Secretary of State in Kentucky? Did you talk to the Secretary of State of any of these states that Donald Trump won and talk to them about throwing out ballots? Or is it just states that Joe Biden won? Is it just those critical states, those battleground states, those states that still had to be called days after the November 3rd election? Was it just those states that Joe Biden was winning that you talked to the Secretary of State? Let's go back to this clip.
We are going way beyond just Twitter or talk of claims that may help Donald Trump feel better, which guests on this program have criticized tonight, but which are, of course, things that any politician can choose to do. We are now in the scandal territory of an allegation of active involvement in the handling of or denial of votes. We're joined now by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York. He's chair of the House Democratic Caucus and serves very relevantly on this matter on the Judiciary Committee. Thanks for being here, sir.
Great to be with you, Ari.
I mentioned the active involvement because there is plenty going on around Trump and the Republican Party right now on voting that is very shady, but would generally be covered by free speech. No matter how terrible people it is, and everyone could go out and criticize it, people could say stuff, they could tweet stuff. It seems now Senator Graham, according to these officials, faces an allegation of something more. I'm curious your view of all of this.
Well, there's nothing more important to the fabric of our democracy than the integrity of our free and fair elections. It's at the core of who we are in the United States of America as a democratic republic. One person, one vote. And it appears that Lindsey Graham may have crossed the line into illegality as part of an effort to rip away Joe Biden's victory in Georgia. And perhaps this is connected to a scheme to try to steal this election in other places. And it seems to me that there's got to be some accountability, some understanding of what took place, why it took place, and whether there was illegality that occurred.
You view the allegation, and it's harder for members of Congress to say this about each other because you all end up going back and trying to work together. You view the allegation as potentially illegal, an illegal election crime.
Certainly seems possible. I'm not familiar with Georgia state law, but I presume that there will be folks who are going to look into this, not because Lindsey Graham is a Republican, but the reality is in America, no one is above the law. Presidents aren't above the law. Governors, mayors aren't above the law. Certainly members of the United States Senate. And this is out of control behavior, Ari. The Trump campaign's out of control. Rudolph Giuliani is out of control. Lindsey Graham is out of control. And what they seem to be suggesting to us is that it's just not going to stop. And perhaps the only way that it stops their efforts to poison our very democracy and rip us apart is if there's going to be some accountability. And I just think follow the facts, apply the law, be guided by the Constitution, and let the chips fall where they may.
All right. So that was from MSNBC. Ari Melber, The Beat, November 17, 2020, speaking with Representative Hakeem Jeffries. Ari Melber, Trump's dumpster fire, legal strategy flailing under Giuliani. Okay. Trump, hold on. No, that was that's the next clip that's coming up dealing with Giuliani. We're going to go to that one next. Hold on.
But we are now witnessing the last embers of.
Okay, so I talked about earlier in the show. We talked about this case in Pennsylvania, and Rudy Giuliani was alleging originally 600,000 false ballots were counted, and all types of nonsense like this. And when all these cases go to court, basically all these cases go to court, they get thrown out. When the judges ask the attorneys, "Are you alleging fraud?" The attorneys say, "No, we're not alleging fraud," because they're under oath and they know if they lie, if they lie, that is a felony. Okay, that is perjury. So let me pull this up. Okay, I want to go to this clip here. This is dealing with this case that was thrown out today in court in the state of Pennsylvania. Some more nonsense from Donald Trump. Let's go to where is that clip here? Okay. For the first time in 28 years, Rudy Giuliani has gone into court to argue a case, this time on behalf of Donald Trump, pushing his allegations of widespread voter fraud. MSNBC's chief legal correspondent, Ari Melber, breaks down his false claims and highlights how Trump's new lawyer has contradicted Rudy Giuliani, asserting that Joe Biden won the election. Okay, once again, down goes Frazier, down goes Frazier.
Big recount or open case that can change the outcome of the presidential. There is no big recount or open case that can change the outcome of the presidential race. But we are now witnessing the last embers of the dumpster fire that is the Trump 2020 legal strategy. I say dumpster fire because the legal claims have been largely trash, which is why judges have thrown them out. And I say fire because as other lawyers leave this project, we have been left with the hot mess that is Rudy Giuliani now taking a larger role. You see today entering court there. Today, Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejecting the Trump campaign's claim about how vote counting was observed, which is a minor issue to begin with. We've been reporting how Trump lawyers have admitted they have no fraud evidence. They've said that under oath. How several Trump cases have just been dropped, admitting defeat before even going to a judge. And now for what's left of this effort, you have Giuliani as the new head of litigation. And while he is widely known in America, it's actually an unusual choice to send someone in to win a case at trial, because what you see here, a little bit of grainy footage we have that was captured of him heading into court. This was actually the first time Rudy Giuliani has gone in to argue in federal court in 28 years. Now, he told the court he believes there's widespread nationwide voter fraud. That's what he thinks. And Giuliani made the false claim that Trump has, quote, 10 times more votes than needed to overturn the election. Now, those kind of false claims fare worse in court than, say, on Twitter. Now, I could just tell you, having followed this, we have now reached this irrelevant, absurd, and somewhat baroque stage of Donald Trump's legal challenges. And that includes not only Rudy taking this bigger role, but also adding a conservative activist lawyer who happened to already do a radio appearance before joining the Trump team, where he admitted the fundamental core fact that he now has to argue against in court, that Joe Biden won the presidency with no lawsuit that can change that reality.
Joe Biden has won Pennsylvania and Nevada and has now won the presidency. In my opinion, there really are no drop that will derail presidency, including these lawsuits. The litigation will not work. It will not reverse this election.
It will not reverse the election. Take it from the new lawyer to reverse the election. Turned out it's something very special that I told you in the beginning of the show we have. Neil Browning is part of this very Moderna trial. He is the second person in the world to receive it. And he joins us along with Dr. Naheed Badilia, an infectious disease physician and director.
Okay, so that was case out that Rudy Giuliani was trying to argue today in Pennsylvania. And actually, we posted about that on. Let me see. We posted about that on my Facebook. I posted about that on Facebook. I'm going to try to see if I can find that article here. Let me see here. All right. I'm looking at these various updates. Yeah, Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejects. NBCnews.com reported this. Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejects Trump campaign lawsuit over election observers in Philadelphia. Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejects Trump campaign lawsuit over election observers in Philadelphia. The ruling is likely to undercut the Trump campaign's case in federal court contesting the results of the election. This is from November 17th, 2020, posted at 4:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out one of the Trump campaign's longest running post-election complaints on Tuesday, November 17th, ruling that officials in Philadelphia did not violate state law by maintaining at least 15 feet of separation between observers and the workers counting ballots. The ruling is likely to undercut the Trump campaign's case in federal court, where Rudy Giuliani joined a hearing on Tuesday afternoon to argue on behalf of President Donald Trump's effort to contest the election results in Pennsylvania. Republican observers said they were kept so far back behind a waist-high fence that they couldn't see any of the details on ballot envelopes or reach any conclusions about whether vote counting procedures were correctly followed. The Trump campaign sued, and a state appeals court said the observers were not given enough access. It ordered the county to move the fence closer to the counting tables. But the state Supreme Court reversed that ruling by a vote of 5-2. It said Pennsylvania law requires only that observers must be allowed, quote, in the room, end quote, where ballots are counted, but does not set a minimum distance between them and the counting tables. The state legislature there in Pennsylvania left it up to county election boards to make these decisions, the court said. In the case of Philadelphia, the local board, quote, fashioned these rules based on its careful consideration of how it could best protect the security and privacy of voters' ballots, as well as safeguard its employees and others who would be present during a pandemic, end quote. Now, Republican observer Jeremy Mercer testified during lower court proceedings that he could see employees removing ballots from the security envelopes, but could not read any markings in the outer envelopes. But Tuesday's ruling said state law does not allow observers to make challenges while votes are being counted. Tuesday's ruling said state law does not allow observers to make challenges while votes are being counted. Philadelphia's regulations, quote, were reasonable in that they allowed candidate representatives to observe activities article here. This is another case thrown out. Trump campaign. Now, Rudy Giuliani is rumored is charging Trump $20,000 a day, okay, for his legal services or lack thereof. So read this one right here. NBC News. Pennsylvania Supreme Court rejects Trump's campaign lawsuit over election observers. Okay, so you talking cities, you talking Atlanta, that have high African American population. Black people didn't vote for you. Okay, and we voted. Okay, we voted our. And so now they're trying to throw because African Americans didn't vote for our votes out. Now they're trying. This is if our vote if not a lot of people to keep us from our votes. If our let's go to more governor and team we NBC get corrupt with all and pay all official things. Don't travel for things. This is 50 articles back from I think November 12th. At dinner parties and game nights, casual American life is fueling the coronavirus surge as daily cases exceed 150,000. At dinner parties and casual American life is fueling the coronavirus cases exceed 150,000. And what's happening is people are going to these events at people's homes. It's all their friends and their pediatrics don't have some transmission. Go gather, fuel the spread, the surge in the spread of coronavirus, dinner parties and game nights, things like this. Now, with the crisis spiraling out of control, officials across the country are urging Americans not to travel for Thanksgiving. Okay, not to travel for Thanksgiving, and to keep their holiday gatherings as small as possible. Okay, and now a growing number of Republican governors are issuing restrictions aimed at curbing the spread. Imagine that, because so many people in these Republican states are getting coronavirus, dying from it. Some of them, but many times overwhelming hospitals. That even Republican governors are going to have to say, look, okay, we're going to have to do something about this. After months of criticizing mask mandates as, quote, feel-good measures, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has made a sharp reversal. That's a feel-good measure? I guess it feels good till your ass gets infected with coronavirus. And you up there throwing up, have diarrhea, have upset stomach, have headaches, things like that. I guess it feels good till your ass gets coronavirus. After months of criticizing mask mandates as feel-good measures, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has made a sharp reversal. The Republican has issued her state's first mask mandate, requiring everyone over the age of 2 to wear face coverings indoors in public places for 3 weeks. Wait a second. This the first mask mandate you've had in 10 months? Republican Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds' emergency proclamation goes into effect on Tuesday, November 17th, and also limits social gatherings to 15 people indoors and 30 people outdoors. This is the first mask mandate you've had in Iowa? Did this have anything to do with Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa coming down with coronavirus today? He's 87 years old. Does this have anything to do with that? It's just, if it's not, it's just a coincidence that on the same day that Republican Senator U.S. Senator Chuck Grassley, 87 years old, announced he has coronavirus. You come out with your first mask mandate in 10 months. Republican Governor Kim Reynolds. Now, Iowa bars and restaurants must close by 10 p.m., but are permitted to continue takeout and drive-through services beyond that. Iowa is joining a number of other Republican states, including North Dakota, Ohio, Utah, and West Virginia, in issuing mask mandates in recent days. Imagine that. New Jersey's new restrictions limiting indoor gatherings to no more than 10 people went into effect on Tuesday, November 17th. In California, Governor Gavin Newsom, Democrat, said on Monday that the state is, quote, pulling an emergency brake and tightening restrictions after new cases there doubled in just the last 10 days. New cases in the state of California doubled in the last 10 days. Los Angeles County officials are considering a curfew for business operations, along with other restrictions. The U.S. reported more than 148,000 new cases on Monday, November 16th, and hospitalizations are at a record high of more than 73,000, according to the COVID tracking project. Now, just a couple of days ago, it was 66,000 people hospitalized nationwide. The hospitals are starting to be overwhelmed. And I'm hearing reports that, look, if this continues, they're going to have to, this will impact the ability to handle people who have heart attacks, asthma attacks, all different types of things. They're going to start turning those people away because they won't have the beds. They won't have the beds. And then you're dealing with trauma and exhaustion when it comes to doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals. A total of nearly 11.3 million nationwide, 1,000 deaths. Chuck Grassley, the longest serving Republican senator, is quarantined with COVID-19, but he announced later today that he actually tested positive for COVID-19. Okay, so I want to look at this article here. NBCnews.com has an extensive article. COVID-19 cases are on the rise in all 50 states, NBC News data shows. In a dozen of those, coronavirus cases have increased in all 50 states, plus Washington, D.C., the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam, which is a U.S. territory, Guam, over the past 14 days. And in a dozen of those states, Vermont, Maine, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Iowa, Ohio, Colorado, Michigan, Nebraska, Kansas, Pennsylvania, and New York, infections have spiked in the last 2 weeks, meaning there has been a 100% or more increase in confirmed cases over 14 days in these 12 states, including the state of Michigan, where I am. There's been a 100% or more increase in confirmed cases in the past 14 days. We see new restrictions were put in place, were announced this past Sunday, the 15th, by Governor Gretchen Whitmer, that go into effect on Wednesday, November 18th. Okay, where for restaurants is going to be takeout only. They're shutting down the in-house dining, which I said they needed to do that weeks ago, because this is one of the main ways coronavirus is spreading. And then you got to stop these house parties that people are having as well, bringing people from outside the household in, bringing their friends over. That's one of the main ways coronavirus is spreading. Now, the White House Coronavirus Task Force bluntly stated in its latest weekly report that there is, quote, now aggressive, unrelenting, expanding, broad community spread across the country. You think? Reaching most counties without evidence of improvement, but rather further deterioration. Now, this is part of a weekly report from the White House Coronavirus Task Force. Has anybody told Donald Trump this? I'm just curious. There was a, let me see here. See if I can find it. There was an email I got earlier today. I think this is the same article. Internal White House report warns of aggressive, unrelenting spread of COVID-19 as every state sees cases rising. I thought this is just supposed to magically go away. The task force report obtained by NBC News warned that current efforts to stop the spread, quote, are inadequate and must be increased to flatten the curve, end quote. Current efforts to stop the spread, quote, are inadequate and must be increased to flatten the curve, end quote. And that the upcoming Thanksgiving holiday has the potential to, quote, amplify transmission considerably, end quote. This is what I've been saying. I'm not even on the task force. This is what I've been saying. Okay. And yeah, this was the same article. Okay, yeah, I got the email update on this story, 8:43 p.m. Okay, yeah, this is the same article because I get emails. I get emails from, I'm on to about 35 different news services. So I get emails all throughout the day and alerts all throughout the day on news and breaking news, things like that. Let's see. Okay, so with so many new cases, hospitals across the country, and the doctors treating the deluge of new patients were reaching the breaking point. If you've been watching a report on MSNBC, they've been interviewing doctors and nurses. This is what they're talking about. Okay, hospitals across the country and the doctors treating the new patients, and I will also add nurses as well, not just doctors, but also nurses, were reaching the breaking point. Dr. Jeff Pothoff, Pothoff, at the University of Wisconsin Hospital, he's a University of Wisconsin Hospital emergency room doctor and chief quality officer, said on MSNBC, every day we seem to break our record for total number of new patients. Every day we seem to break our record of total number of new patients. We're all tired. Everyone is tired. We're all doing our best. Medicine is a team sport, but we need some help. Things are not going well for us. Okay. Let me see here. Okay, so Ohio governor implements curfew. Yeah, this is what I want to go to this clip here. See, this is how serious this is. People are playing around. Think this is a game. No, it's not. And see, what people have to understand is even if you don't die, right, you can infect other people who have to be hospitalized, who have to be put on ventilators. We're seeing a record number of people. We're seeing day after day, more people in total are being hospitalized. We're talking about 77,000 people nationwide who are being hospitalized. Let's go to this clip here.
Tonight, with hospitals at a breaking point and some morgues filling fast, all 50 states across our nation now have COVID cases on the rise by at least double digits. California is in crisis again. Daily case counts doubling here in just 10 days. Long lines for testing stretch from dawn to dusk.
Los Angeles is in a very dangerous situation.
Hospitals in the nation's second largest city could be overwhelmed by Christmas if no action is taken.
And if we don't make these decisions now, we will almost certainly have to shut things down again. And more people will get sick and die.
NBC.
That was Mayor Eric Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, speaking. Let me go back to this.
Die.
NBC News obtaining a White House report calling the pandemic's trajectory aggressive, unrelenting, expanding. With a record 73,000 hospitalized today, on Thursday, Ohio begins a 3-week curfew from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. More than half the nation implementing new restrictions this month.
We are in an utter emergency here.
Dr. Daniel Johnson works the ICU in Nebraska.
If we don't change the way we are living our lives, we will not get control of this.
With many getting tested so they can go home for the holidays, most doctors say it's still not safe to travel. In Mississippi, one official warned, if you gather for Thanksgiving, you could be planning a funeral for Christmas. As inmates man morgues in El Paso, the national death toll is approaching 250,000. Before John Carrillo lost his mother and father, he told his sister, who also passed away, he could not risk seeing his parents.
I can't help Dad, because if I do, I'll take the virus to my family. And I have 2 girls and a granddaughter that live with us. That hurts that I wasn't able to do more for them.
While many will beat the virus, for so many others, there is no escape from the heartbreak. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News.
Richard Engel, thank you. And
All
you
right.
just heard President.
Okay, so this is what I've been talking about. This is going to explode come Thanksgiving if people are not careful. And then as it gets colder, people retreat indoors more. They're in closer proximity to people. You have many people, especially African Americans and Hispanics, that live in multi-generational homes. This is going to run through our homes like wildfire. Winter is not officially here yet, even though it's cold, and we had some snow flurries today in Detroit. Winter does not officially come until December 20th, between December 20th to December 22nd, depending upon the year. It's based upon astronomy, the winter solstice. Winter is not even here yet. Then you have Christmas. If we're having 100,000, we've had 11 or 12 straight days of 100,000 plus new cases a day. And as I said on the show the past couple of days, the first 1 million cases, it took 100 days to get to the first 1 million cases of coronavirus in the U.S. To go from 8 million to 9 million cases, it took 2 weeks. To go from 9 million to 10 million cases, it took 10 days. To go from 10 million to 11 million cases, it took 6 days. Because the infection is spreading faster. And Thanksgiving's not here yet, and winter's not here yet. Christmas is not here yet. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day is not here yet. So we have to be careful. Otherwise, you may have family members over for Thanksgiving and may be planning a funeral for Christmas. Literally. All right, how's everybody doing? Watching us on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP, on YouTube, and on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network. We'll go to this next story here. I was going to talk about this. It's dealing with the Biden transition team. There's so much going on. And I monitor all this stuff all day long. So I'm just giving you a synopsis of what I've been reading today. You can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and then also through PayPal, paypal.me / the AHN Show, paypal.me / the AHN Show. All right, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button, and you can donate to the African History Network. African American business owners, email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We have 2 or 3 spots left to advertise on our nightly show. And our Sunday night show was sold out. And we take your, you can send us a script or bullet points. We'll create a commercial for you. And we'll take your, I'll create a video commercial for you. And it'll re-air during the rebroadcast of our shows on our social media platforms. But it'll also be an audio podcast format on the audio podcast of our shows. We're on 9 different audio podcast platforms. We're on Acast, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, FM Player, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, 9 different audio podcast platforms we're on. So people will also hear your commercial when these shows, when they listen to the podcast of the shows also. All right.
The fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good.
Here. Let me back that up.
Forever. Brownie yet? Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny Brownie yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are vegan, gluten-free, and free of the big 8 allergens. While eating their No Frowny brownies, the fabulous Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very good. Very good. And you know, if she says that, they are. The Pink Bakery is the first Black-owned, Big 8 allergen-free baking mix company. Go to thepinkbakery.com. That's thepinkbakery.com to order their No Frowny Brownie mix today. Are you ready for a new Black economy? Well, Happy, The Role of Economics in the Development of Civilization, is a brand new documentary that will set you on a new path of knowledge and enlightenment. The Happy film gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right up until today. The underlying theme of the film is the interrelationship between the 3 essential components of economics, politics, and culture. Happy brings together the brightest and most prolific minds in the fields of psychology, history, business, and politics, such as Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Zahi Hawass, and Jabari Osazi, and more. Together, they deliver a message of cooperative economics, financial independence, and a pride that we can all be inspired by. The film is on sale now. It's streaming on all digital formats. Or for DVD, please visit Happy, H-A-P-I, happyfilm.com. Use offer code Happy, AHN, for a 10% discount. Gain knowledge in minutes with Blacklist Ed. Blacklist Ed is an app that provides insightful summaries of books pertaining to the Black experience. As Black people, we know the importance of reading books to discover our incredible contributions to world history, to uplift our self-esteem, and to empower ourselves for our relentless fight for social justice. Unfortunately, with our busy lives, it feels like there is never enough time to read a book. Fortunately, there's a solution. With Blacklist Ed, their app provides key insights from best-selling books about the Black experience, therefore saving you time, increasing your knowledge, and empowering yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. You can read or listen on the go. Start your free trial today by going to blacklisted.com. That's Black without the C, B-L-A-K. Or you can download the Blacklist Ed app from the App Store or Google Play. Blacklist Ed, empower yourself.
All right. So email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. African-American business owners, and we'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. If you didn't recognize that voice, that was my voice. So I do the voiceovers and put together the commercials also. I posted about this earlier today. USA Today had this article. Okay, what just happened? Just a second here. I posted about this earlier today. USA Today had this article about the Joe Biden's transition team, and there was an announcement. There was an announcement dealing with Joe Biden's transition team today. Biden announced the senior White House staff picks. Representative Cedric Richmond a member of the Congressional Black Caucus and former chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. He's a representative from Louisiana. He's been added. He'll be a senior advisor to President Joe Biden and director of the White House Office of Public Engagement. They talked about this on NBC Nightly News. I want to go to this clip here. Let me see, where is that? I just saw it here. Hold on. So they talked about this on NBC Nightly News. Let's go to this clip. Biden transition team meets with national security advisors. The meeting comes as the Trump administration is still preventing official briefings. Donald Trump's former chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, added to the growing chorus, saying they should change. Let's go to this clip here.
Angle, thank you. And as you just heard, President-elect Joe Biden today still not getting the green light from the Trump administration to receive intelligence briefings. So his team set up its own. Kristen Welker has the latest.
Tonight, President-elect Biden trying to turn up the heat on President Trump. Today, Biden's transition team setting up a meeting with a group of national security advisors since the Trump administration is still preventing official briefings.
Been unable to get the briefings that ordinarily would have come by now.
President Trump's former chief of staff adding to the growing chorus, saying that should change.
There's no reason not to be giving former Vice President Biden and Senator Harris the intelligence briefings.
Still, most Senate Republicans say President Trump's legal challenges to the election should be given time to play out.
All of it will happen right on time, and we'll swear in the next administration on January 20th.
Including Trump ally Lindsey Graham.
Do you think he won the election?
When the court cases are over, ask me when the courts have ruled.
Graham was among those who greeted Vice President-elect Harris with a fist bump when she returned to the Senate floor today. Meanwhile, NBC News has learned from 5 people familiar with the discussions that Biden has told advisors he does not want his presidency consumed by investigations into President Trump, despite pressure from some Democrats to do exactly that. Late tonight, President Trump fired DHS cybersecurity official Chris Krebs, who said last week there was no evidence of election fraud. Trump tweeting without evidence, Krebs' report was, quote, highly inaccurate. Kristen Welker, NBC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
All right. Check out this clip from NBC Nightly News at NBCnews.com. Biden transition team meets with national security advisors. So you have sore loser Donald Trump acting like a 2-year-old toddler tweeting, throwing temper tantrums on Twitter, the 2-year-old toddler throwing temper tantrums on Twitter. And if we look briefly here at this article from USA Today, Joe Biden names 9 top White House appointees, including Representative Cedric Richmond and campaign manager Jen O'Malley Dillon. And let's see here. Representative Cedric Richmond, let me see. I heard a statement he gave today. Richmond, who announced Tuesday, Representative Cedric Richmond of Louisiana, who announced Tuesday that he would leave Congress after 10 years, served on the Ways and Means Committee, which deals with taxes, trade deals, Social Security, and Medicare. He previously served as chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. Representative Cedric Richmond said as part of the new administration, he would talk to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi or House Whip James Clyburn at any time. Quote, you can't govern if you don't win, Representative Cedric Richmond said. We control the House and our agenda is far more aggressive than that. Our agenda is far more aggressive than what the Republicans want to do. Okay, check out this article from USA Today. Joe Biden names 9 top White House appointees, including Representative Cedric Richmond and campaign manager Jen O'Malley. Yesterday, we talked about how Biden is putting together a team of policy experts, about 500 policy experts. And he's putting together a team of experts, a team of people who are experts on systemic racism. And there was one article from the Associated Press. We posted that. Check that out. Key role for Black policy leaders on Biden's transition team. Key role for Black policy leaders on Biden's transition team. That's from November 12th, 2020, Thursday, November 12th, 2020, written by my girl Kat Stafford over at the Associated Press, who is from Detroit. Black policy leaders will play a pivotal role in President-elect Joe Biden's transition, marking one of the most diverse agency review teams in history. Of the 500 plus team members announced this week or last week, more than half are women, and African-American men and women are leading more than 1/4 of the teams. The diversity is significant because the teams will be responsible for evaluating the operations of federal agencies that have a broad impact on Americans' lives. And it's especially important because Biden will take office at a time when the United States is confronting a historic pandemic, joblessness, police brutality, crisis that have disparately impacted African Americans. Tony Allen, who is a transition advisory board member and president of historically Black college, Delaware State University, said, quote, the agency review process will help lay the foundation for meeting these challenges on day one. We are building a team. We are building a team to reflect America, and these Black leaders are dedicated experts in their fields. Now, so read that article read the rest of that from the Associated Press. Then November 15th, 2020, Sunday, Bloomberg.com reported Biden fields economic post with experts on systemic racism. Biden fields economic posts with experts on systemic racism. Okay. Previous administrations haven't made race scholarship such a clear priority. The incoming president tapped Marasa Baradaran, Baradaran, whose book, quote, The Color of Money, end quote, is a key reference on the racial wealth gap to prepare the Treasury Department for the transition. She's joined by Lisa Cook, an economist at Michigan State University, on the, quote, landing team, end quote, for the Federal Reserve and banking and securities regulators. They are among more than 500 experts who will focus on race as they shape Biden's policies on issues like housing, health, and small business lending. Baradaran declined to comment, and Lisa Cook referred questions to the Biden team. Observers say they've never seen expertise about race figure so prominently in economic roles. Okay, so check out this article here, and it's somebody asked, how can they be official briefings if Biden is not president-elect? Okay, you ain't pay attention to what we just said. One, if the GSA, Emily Murphy, signs off to recognize Joe Biden as president-elect, he will get official presidential daily briefings. One. Okay, so you need to do more research. Two, this was Biden's team of national security experts giving him a briefing. So go back and rewind this. All right. Let's continue. We'll be here for a few more minutes. But anytime you have an incoming president that's declared president-elect and you had a transition team, they get official presidential daily briefings. Dumbass Donald Trump, through Emily Murphy, who heads up the GSA, is blocking that. But in a normal transition of power, when you have a transition team, the incoming president and vice president, for that matter, would get these briefings. Okay. Now, Senator Kamala Harris, because she's on the Senate Intelligence Committee, she gets intelligence briefings, but President-elect Joe Biden is not getting the presidential daily briefings, but he should be. All right, let's continue here. Let's see what. Okay, we dealt with that. We dealt with that topic, and all right, visit our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All my DVD lectures are there in digital downloads. Why is this? All right, just a second here. Okay, we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. We're Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP. Turn on notifications so you know when we go live. On both YouTube and Facebook. Which one was that? Legal medical groups. All right. We've got that. And okay. All right. You can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, and then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. Last story. Trump fires head of election cybersecurity who debunked conspiracy theories. Trump fires head of election cybersecurity who debunked conspiracy theories. You posted this article today also. CSI director Christopher Krebs had recently butted heads with the White House over his agency's rumor control blog, because they didn't want rumors flying around and people operating based upon rumors. Okay, so he set up a rumor control blog, which rebuts false claims of election fraud and hacking. So Christopher Krebs, who led the federal government's election cybersecurity efforts, has been fired by Donald Trump via Twitter. Krebs, the director of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, on CSA, has been the target of public criticism from Donald Trump. And then hold on just a second here. All right. He's been a target of public criticism from Donald Trump since the November 3rd election over his agency's rumor control blog, which rebuts a list of false claims about election fraud and hacking, many of which Trump or his lawyers have touted as real after he lost the election. Now, Christopher Krebs said, quote, "I'm proud of the work we did at the CISA." Krebs told NBC News on Tuesday night after the firing, "I'm proud of the teammates I had at CISA. We did it right." Now, a source with knowledge of the firing said that Christopher Krebs, a source with knowledge of the firing said that Christopher Krebs found out about the firing via Twitter, and that it was upsetting for him because he took the work seriously. Several sources close to Christopher Krebs said in recent days that it was a matter of when, not if, he would be fired. Now, a person close to Christopher Krebs said he's been on death watch, quote unquote. He's been on death watch. Now, Trump tweeted Tuesday night that Krebs had put out a statement concerning the election that was, quote, highly inaccurate, end quote, apparently a reference to the joint statement Thursday from CISA, the Election Assistance Commission, and groups that represent the chief elections officers in every state. The statement read in part, quote, there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. Okay. They put out a statement that read in part, quote, there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised. Now, Donald Trump has said repeatedly that the election was rigged, even though no evidence has substantiated the claim, and numerous state and federal agencies have said the election was legitimate. So Donald Trump is alleging that Democrats rigged the election. So they rigged the election so Joe Biden will win, but they let Mitch McConnell win in Kentucky. Democrats rigged the election so Joe Biden will win, but they let Cindy Hyde-Smith beat Mike Espy in Mississippi for the U.S. Senate race. Democrats rigged the election, but they didn't rig it so John Ossoff would beat Senator David Perdue in Georgia, so you wouldn't have a runoff election. They didn't rig it so Reverend Raphael Warnock would beat Senator Kelly Loeffler in Georgia, so you wouldn't have a runoff election. Democrats rigged the election so Joe Biden would win, but they didn't rig the election in South Carolina. So Jamie Harrison, who raised, I think, close to $100 million, would beat Senator Lindsey Graham in South Carolina for the U.S. Senate race. So Democrats rigged the election for Joe Biden, but they didn't rig it for all these other ones. And then when Trump says the election was rigged, but you don't say that in any states that you won. You're not be thrown out in states that you won. How is it that were for you were fraudulent? Krebs, Trump has said repeatedly, blah blah blah. Nonsense. Okay, flagging this nonsense also. Krebs has been one of the most vocal government officials debunking baseless claims about election manipulation, particularly addressing a conspiracy theory centered on Dominion voting systems, Dominion, DOMINION, Dominion voting systems, machines that Trump has pushed. In addition to the rumor control website, Christopher Krebs defended the use of mail-in ballots before the election, saying CISA saw no potential for increased fraud. Ramped up during the pandemic. In a subsequent maintain from foreign interference. He may suffer from after Trump's and Krebs tweeted to continue the end, right? This will be conspiracy, and you have a lot of this stuff floating around. And then when people are asked to provide evidence, there's usually no evidence to substantiate all these claims, especially with Trump. And when these cases go to court, and just like the one in Pennsylvania, all this stuff gets thrown out. Okay, so just more nonsense, and we have trolls. So, and you know, we block trolls. I've got trolls in different area codes. Just before. Look, hey, we're going to at the after to Friday midnight. We're 9. Well, Follow us on our Facebook fan pages, The African History Network, The African History Network on Facebook, and then on YouTube, Michael Imhotep on YouTube as well. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's correct wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. Right now it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Peace. Revitalizing, restorative, indulgent, essential. Crea's Love Butter Raw Shea Butter Collection. How do we know if our skin products are truly delivering all of the health benefits they should? Crea's Love Butter is a thoughtful combination of hand-selected ingredients designed to enhance the level of your skin's health. Crea's Love Butter is an ideal gift for health-conscious loved ones and is a pleasure to both give and receive. They've harnessed the restorative powers of raw shea butter and infused it with their love and passion for revitalizing skin that you will undoubtedly feel from the first use. Visit their website today, creaslovebutter.com. CREAS, creaslovebutter.com. Put your skin in the game. Yaya Rule is a line of African print-inspired apparel catered to the black community. The pieces include t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, and other accessories and home decor. This brand offers a revived way for men and women to wear their black pride and honor their African heritage anywhere at any time. This apparel line is for anyone, whether you are working in the corporate world, are an entrepreneur, or an artist. Their selection will allow you to casually let your pride shine or dress it up as wanted. It is for those who have already embraced African fabrics and for those who are just getting introduced to them. Reclaim and experience a part of our culture with rich and colorful African prints. The clothing line and the accessories are available right now starting at $17.99. For more information on the new items and accessories, visit yayarule.com.
Melanize Media is an independently black-owned and operated film company. We specialize in producing culturally enriching black films and videos at melanizemedia.com. Join us every Sunday for Melanize Nights, where we screen a socially conscious documentary film or black historic presentation. That's every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Visit melanizemedia.com to learn more and to register. That's MELANEYES media.com. Peace.